Hello, I'm Tara and this is Mike and we're from livingonadime.com. Today we are answering a reader question. Oops, my hat's falling. Oh dear, I'm falling apart. Oh no, don't comment on that actually.
You left yourself wide open.
I know. So we had a reader question. What do you think about Black Friday sales and do you go? So this is Mike's department because no, I don't go to Black Friday sales. I went one time, I was gonna go get an electric blanket at Kohl's because it was a really good deal. And I got there, found my blanket, and the line was an hour and a half long to check out. It literally wound around the store and I thought, this is not worth saving $40 on an electric blanket. So I left and I never went Black Friday shopping again. But then we got teenagers.
Even before teenagers, when we didn't have a lot of money, I went to Black Friday a few times.
Yeah.
But we never go and just browse Black Friday. We would go and we would look at the ads, identify, okay, what would be the most important few things and that we will save the most on if we buy them now. And we did that. I think years ago when we lived in Kansas, I went to a Walmart and stood in line and I had a lot of things on the list and I was able to get them. But for the most part, we go for just a very few things.
Yeah, and now with the teenagers, starting about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, our older teens, they decided they wanted a computer. So they had been saving up their money, they'd been working and had allowances, and they had saved up their money. And they decided to go, they found the computer they wanted on Black Friday. So Mike and the kids got up and went, and it was an adventure, but tell them your secret to getting the good computer deals.
Well, we, of course, it won't be a secret anymore, right?
Well, that's true.
So for the computers, we don't buy the kids any personal electronics. That's up to them to buy for themselves.
Period. We don't buy their cell phones. We don't buy iPads. We don't buy computers.
And we
Nothing.
allow them to buy a computer of their own money when they're around 14 or 15.
Yeah, 14 or 15.
We do not allow them to have a phone or something else until they're 16 with a driver's license and paying the phone for themselves. Anyway, so what we did for Black Friday is our son was old enough and he's crazy about computers and he had saved up all the money and he wanted to go buy one right now. And it was like the first week of November. And I said, well, we'll go ahead and let you buy one, but you need to wait till Black Friday because you can get a whole lot better deal. So we looked and we looked in the ads before Black Friday and found one that was what we were interested in. One thing about the computers, it's different for everybody, but a lot of people just go in and buy whatever's the cheapest one. Or they buy without really, the ads have a lot of things in them that say, oh, hey, this is a touch screen, or this is and it's a lot of nothing in the computers. So we look for the computers that are actually good computers. And then we typically will not go unless we save a lot of money. So usually it has to be at least 50% that we're saving. And
which translates to $200 to $300 at least.
I think the most we ever paid for one was maybe $350 or $400, but it was a really high-powered computer. So what we'll do is we'll tend to not go for the dirt cheapest one because for our needs, that's usually not enough. And what we've done is we've looked in the ads and we've identified some stores where they had them. And we looked at the computers to see what do we think is the best. The first time, we weren't really sure how soon to show up because I think the store opened at 5 and the ad said that they had a minimum of 5. And when they say it has a minimum of 5, it means there are 5.
And no more. That's it.
And there were 3 different kinds of computers. It was an office supply store. I'm not completely sure which one. But they had 3 different computers on their super sale list, and we got the middle range one because the dirt cheapest one was missing some major components that caused it to actually work right, but it's cheap. And we didn't really need the higher one, so we were there for that price. What we decided to do was show up, I think we showed up about 3, which was 2 hours early, and at that time I think there were maybe 2 or 3 people in line already. And it was cold in wintertime where we were, and
So they bundled up, took their coffee, took a chair.
we came prepared. You should always go prepared. We brought lots of clothes to be willing to stand outside for a couple of hours in sub-freezing weather. And then we
and
waited.
it's easiest to have 2 people at least if you can, because then if you need something in the car or run and get something or run and go get more coffee, that person can run and go get it and the other one can stay in line. So that helps too.
Yeah. And yeah, you don't want to get out of line because people get really irritated if it looks like other people are coming when they shouldn't. What we've tried to figure out is if we're not sure how early to get there, we always aim for earlier, because typically if we're going and we're going to save $300 or $400 on one item, we don't want to get up at 2 or 3 in the morning and get over there and wait in line and not get it, because that would just be a total bust. So we make sure that if we're not quite sure when, we'll get there earlier. Now, some of the stores where we've been that open at 5, usually 3 is plenty early. I think the last couple of times we've gone, there was absolutely nobody else there when we got there.
And then they just sit in the car then and just wait until another car shows up. And then when another car shows up, they jump out real quick and go get in line first.
Yeah, or sometimes we all sit there and eyeball each other a little bit, like who's going to be the first one to be desperate enough. Anyway, so the way those work on the computers is they usually have, like I said, they say there are 5 available, and what those office stores will do is they'll come down through the line with a clipboard with a bunch of things on it, and they have an actual paper they give you that says you were in line and you're going to get first shot at this computer. And I think we've done that 1, 2, 3. I think we've done that 4 different years over the last quite a few years. And last year we went because our 2 girls needed computers, or they had the money and they wanted them for school and stuff and whatever else kids do. So we ended up finding that that store was going to be opening at 5 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day. And we're not really thrilled about shopping on Thanksgiving Day, but we had already kind of eaten and we were just hanging out and playing games and stuff. And there was a point where everybody was saying, I'm bored. So we thought, well, we'll just go do that. So we went and
they saved about $500 or $600 at least for both their computers. So that was definitely worth, the hour and a half, 2 hour wait.
And we were the first people in line on that one. So that was great. We got completely got our choice of that. One thing too, on the Black Friday at those office stores, part of the markdown is they're expecting to sell you things where, they'll uninstall all the extra bloatware that is installed on the computer that you don't really need. And they'll do a variety. They'll make you backup disks and they'll do things like that, and almost all that is completely unnecessary. Sometimes they'll want to sell you a warranty, and your call whether you get the warranty at that store, but we usually buy warranties at SquareTrade because they're not very expensive. You can get them for a long period of time, and our experience with them has been really good. And they're not paying us to say this.
And then, they're not paying us to say this, but if they want to, no, just kidding.
Make a comment below.
One thing last year, we went on Thanksgiving Day to Walmart to get a few things. Like we wanted a Roku because we don't have cable, so we wanted a Roku and that. And we discovered
We accidentally discovered a lot of things.
Yeah, and we were waiting around for like an hour and there was nobody there. There was nobody there. But 15 minutes before the sales were to start at 5 p.m. last year, it was like a zoo. And Mike and I were standing by the Rokus because we wanted 2 of them and it was limit 1 per person. And we were standing there and we literally had to put our hand on the Roku because people were starting to crowd in and push us.
And some people were grabbing them ahead of time.
Yeah. And the employees were coming and it was getting really not good. Well, as soon as they ripped that package open, I am not exaggerating. In 10 seconds flat, there was probably 100 Rokus gone. They were gone in 10 seconds. So if there's something really important that you want like that, you may have to stand by with your hand on it, waiting until the time, which is kind of dumb if you ask me.
The things that are really popular, you pretty much do have to do that. And it's okay. I mean, we just stood there and we put our hand on there and we chit-chat with everybody else around and it's fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's one person that comes in and tries to cause trouble and most people just ignore that person and it's not a big deal at a place like Walmart especially. We've never really had any problems with people getting crazy and violent and doing lots of bizarre stuff, but we've heard about it mostly happening at Best Buy in our areas. I think that's because people feel like Best Buy has the best stuff or whatever. My experience, one time I went to Best Buy, but I think at the time it seemed like a good deal and I was able to get it, but then I had to wait in line like 3 hours.
So that's just not worth it.
Yeah, I had to wait in line 3 hours to pay.
Yeah, and we're not, I mean, we've done this in Colorado and Kansas, so it's not like we're doing this in New York City or Chicago or something. So maybe the bigger cities, you know, is where Los Angeles is where you're seeing all these herds of people. We would not go and do that. I can tell you right now, if it was something like what you see on TV, we would not do that.
Well, I think some of it you might not have seen, but we've been places where there are 500, 600, 700 people in front of a store.
Yeah.
But we're always in the first 20 people because we get there early. But there's another thing I was going to say is a couple of times I've gone to stores like Target or Walmart. Walmart's different now because they do this thing where they release certain items at 5 o'clock and then at 6 o'clock. But anyway, the stores where you get there and they just open the doors and everybody runs in all at the same time. I found that you really want to know exactly what you're going to get, which things are the very most important that you get them. Because if you're just a browser, you should go on a regular shopping day because you're not going to get anything particularly special. I mean, the browsers maybe get 10 or 20% off. But if there's something that you want and it's a really good deal, you need to kind of, in your mind, think, where in the store is this? Mm-hmm. And you need to go straight for the first thing. Like I would just walk in, I'd walk past all the people that were hanging out over the newest Disney toy, and I would just go straight back to the thing that we had identified. And then if I got there and I was able to get it, I would look at the next thing really quick and I would walk straight to that thing. And then if you want to browse afterward. And
if you really need a couple of big things, send 2 or 3 people. You know, Mike and I, like last year, Mike and I went. And, you know, if you have older kids, take the older kids to buy the presents for the younger kids or that kind of thing. But, you know, really, it's just a matter of, first of all, make sure it's really worth saving.
That's the big thing.
If you're not going to save a couple of $100, I mean, if you're going in to save $5 or $10, it's not worth it.
And if you're getting a price that you can get on a sale, on a regular sale,
yeah,
just go on a regular sale and don't get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. And
so if we weren't going to be saving, you know, $300 to $500 on the computers, we wouldn't have done that. But, you know, it was fun and it's a bonding experience for the kids. The kids had a good time with Dad and they all, you know, were joking around. So, you know, it's kind of a fun tradition thing to do for us too. But, you know, we do shop for the really big things, but I don't just go and buy all my Christmas presents on Black Friday. It's just not worth it. So
usually we don't go to more than 1 or 2 stores.
Yeah.
I think last year our oldest son, who was 17 at the time, decided he wanted to go get a TV at a different place. And since he was driving, we thought, okay, he can handle himself, and we let him go.
Yeah.
So but mostly, you know, once you go to the first store, it's unlikely you're going to get a really great deal at the next store.
Yeah. So that's how we do Black Friday. Let us know what your best deals on Black Friday were. Do you go shopping on Black Friday or do you not? Is it a family tradition? Let us know. We'd like to hear your comments below.